Down the lane, give it a roll. You get poked at Olympic Bowl. Come on down for the best fun in town. Give it a roll at Olympic Bowl.
Lori Nichols dominated the qualifying rounds, and now she's hoping to boast her first victory of the year. Betty Morris, the bowler of the decade in the 70s, will be after her first title of the 80s. Maiden, one of the hottest players on the tour, will be after her third title of the year. Cheryl Daniels hopes to become the first black bowler since 1978 to win an LPBT tournament. And Lisa Wagner, the leading money winner on the tour, will be after her second victory of 1986. From Olympic Bowl in Rochester, New York, home of the Lilac City Tournament, this is the $30,000 Hammer Eastern Open. Locally sponsored by Lake Beverage, distributor for Budweiser and Bud Light, and by Harvey Anderson of Rochester Coca-Cola Bottling Corporation. Good afternoon. I'm Rich Funky with former U.S. Open winner Karen Ellingsworth, and Lori Nichols has had one red-hot week.
She sure has, Rich. She won 17 straight matches during the match play format and has led this field by over 400 pins. She is definitely the bowler to beat today.
Of course, that's all ancient history now, because what happened in the qualifying doesn't matter. This is a one-match tournament, and there are 4 other bowlers who hope to reach that title game against Lori Nichols. We'll be back to talk more about the field when the Hammer Eastern Open continues in just a moment. Back in Olympic Bowl with Karen Ellingsworth. We talked about Lori Nichols, who won this event in 1983. How about the rest of the field? Cheryl Daniels.
Well, Cheryl's a very strong player out on tour. She's still looking for that first title. She's got a lot of talent. Today could be the day.
She'll take on Lisa Wagner in the first one, and Lisa's been playing very well.
Well, Lisa has won from the number 5 position before, so she knows she can do it. She has 4 matches ahead of her. But like I said, she has won from this position before.
Maiden has won twice.
She is red hot. She's probably the hottest player on tour right now. We're going to have to see what happens.
Betty Morris is in a very good position, number 2.
Betty is looking for her first title since 1980. She is really pumped up for today's action.
And Lori Nichols in the title match.
Hey, the player to beat. She's got to go out there. She's got one game to protect her title, and she really wants it.
All right, we'll be back with the first match. Lisa Wagner against Cheryl Daniels when the Hammer Eastern Open continues in just a moment. Cheryl Daniels and Lisa Wagner, past champions here at Olympic Bowl, have included Lori Nichols in 83, Cindy Colburn in 84, Tish Johnson in 85. The first ball for Cheryl Daniels, and left with a 7 pin.
Well, she threw a great shot to start out this match, but she's left with a 7 pin. And you could see the power of Cheryl Daniels with the pins flying all over the lanes. She probably throws one of the most powerful balls on our tour.
Her dad is here watching her this afternoon. He is a phys ed teacher. Cheryl Daniels from Detroit, Michigan, 26 years old. And she has her spare to start off this first match in the 1986 Hammer Eastern Open. And now Lisa Wagner of Palmetto, Florida, the leading money winner on the tour this year. She's 25 years old.
Lisa has come from this position, as we said earlier. If she gets the momentum going, she can keep things together for the 4 matches, and she can really be tough if she can get through this first match.
Lisa gets that first strike, and Lisa told me before she was throwing the ball a little slower in this tournament.
She is. Lisa, her nickname used to be the Rocket from Palmetto because of the speed she could generate with her very loose, strong, straight arm swing. But she slowed down in the last couple of years. She said it feels as though it's really helped her carry in the pocket. She left a lot of ringing 10 pins with the firm speed, and it's obviously worked for her this tournament.
Lisa's husband, Kent, is on the PWBA tour. Working on a strike, and left with the 10 pin.
That's something we've seen a lot this week. That's what we call the flat 10 or the weak 10, whereas the ball is just finishing too late. It finishes behind the 10 pin, and the 6 pin just sort of lays down instead of taking out the 10 pin. It's not really a tap. It was not a great shot. It was in the pocket, in play, but not really a great strong ball to carry.
Her average on these TV lanes, 246. And she got her spare. Lisa beat Cheryl Daniels, by the way, 236 to 218 in head-to-head competition during the week.
The scores here all week have been very, very good. I think that it's going to take good scores to win this tournament. I don't see anyone getting through a match with anything less than 200. But under the pressure of the TV format and under the lights, you never know what can happen.
Cheryl was working on her spare. She has an 8 count.
She really looked like she almost stuck at the foul on that ball, pulling up, and she just pulled it right through the head pin.
Watch the way Cheryl loosens up before every ball she releases here. Swings that arm a little bit.
Now she says that just helps her feel loose, get a good feel of the ball. And it's helped her in the recent tournaments. She's been going real well.
Cheryl has her second spare in a row. Move into the third frame now. She's a very relaxed player. You won't see Cheryl Daniels jump around a lot on the lanes as some of the other bowlers may.
She just tries to stay on an even keel, and she tries not to let any emotion affect her game.
We got good action on that ball and has her first strike of this match.
That was an identical shot to the shot she threw in the first frame on lane 33, although this time she got the good break with a pin taking out the 7 pin instead of leaving it standing. So she looks like she's lined up on lane 33.
You know, when you go through all the information sheets and you look at what the players like to do and for recreation and hobbies, you look at Lisa Wagner and it's auto racing. Her dream is to become a NASCAR driver.
Well, I hope she doesn't practice driving from tournament to tournament.
I'll be going down to Syracuse now, which is a pretty short ride from here.
I hope she takes it easy and cruises.
Lisa up by 2 pins and working on a double.
Oh, and she got a great break that time, getting out the 10 pin. She would have been left with the 8-10. Again, the ball finishing just too late and too weak, and not being able to take out the back row pins. And it looks as though lane 33 is giving Lisa just a little bit of trouble.
There is Lisa's husband, Kent. Talking with Kent earlier this week, I said, who's the better bowler? He said she is. Lisa doesn't believe that, however.
Kent's a fine bowler on the Men's Professional Bowlers Tour, and he tries to come and root on Lisa whenever he gets a break from his tour.
He's had 2 4th-place finishes this year on the PWBA Tour. He's ranked in the top 20 in points.
They make a really good doubles team. I wouldn't want to go in against them.
Cheryl Daniels using that black hammer ball. And the 10 pin is left.
Already we've seen quite a few of the same shot. You get the same pin reaction with the 6 pin just dying there in the channel, not being able to take out the 10 pin.
Her current average, by the way, is 199. That ranks 16th in the LPBT standings. She's bowled all 4 years in this tournament.
Cheryl is one of the veterans without a title. She's been out here a long time, and she's a consistent finalist. She's made many, many stepladder formats. She just hasn't gotten the breaks, and she just has let that first title slip away. And she's had quite a few second-place finishes, and she really is a strong bowler, probably one of the most physically talented bowlers we have.
Her earnings so far, $5,105. That ranks 15th on the tour. There's the strike she was looking for. 78 for Cheryl Daniels. And Lisa Wagner up by 2 pins. Cheryl's father is in the audience. Booker Daniels was a phys ed teacher in Detroit. Got her started in this great game of bowling.
All right, Lisa's going to try and come back here.
Solid hit.
That was a really, really good shot. You could see the ball finishing just a little stronger into the pocket. Both girls have made the adjustment, moving a little further to the right in order to let the ball finish stronger into the head pin and take out that 10 pin.
Lisa has the best average of all of those in the stepladder finals at 207 and $16,980 in earnings so far this year.
But she can't bring her track record with her because today it all starts over, and what they do today counts, not what happened yesterday.
She has come from sixth place to win a 200 match.
You could see she was really happy with that shot. She knew that it really takes a lot to really take into the lead. Now she's taking control of this match, and Cheryl's going to have to come back and strike on the next ball.
Lisa Wagner up by 12 pins, and we'll be back with more in just a moment. Holding a 12-pin lead, and Cheryl Daniels up, working on a pair of strikes. We're in the 6th frame. Check that, she's working on 1 strike in the 6th frame.
Although it's early in the match, this is a key shot with Cheryl because she needs this strike just to stay even with Lisa. And if she doesn't, she's going to have to sit back down again before she can come back and throw the double.
There's that 10 pin again.
Almost identical to the 3 shots she's left. She's lined up to the pocket. The shots look as though they're good, but they're really not. It's not really a good shot. She just got around that ball, and it just didn't finish strong enough.
One of the bowlers were saying this week, Karen, that they were working from the inside rather than the outside. What does that mean?
Well, we're playing more towards the 3rd arrow. Most bowlers in league play come up and line up somewhere around the 2nd arrow or to the right of the 2nd arrow if you're a right-handed player. But this week we're playing more towards the center of the lane, going against the boards. That means we're picking up additional skid by going across the boards instead of with the boards towards the pocket. And as I said, the scores have been very good.
And her score has been particularly good on these 2 lanes, 221 during the qualifying. 10 pin again.
All these girls on the show today, they averaged in the 220s just to get where they were. So you can see the really good scoring conditions that we did have by saying those with those scores.
Cheryl's best finish this year was 5th, and that was in the U.S. Open. This is her 2nd TV appearance of the year. And she gets her spare. So now it's Lisa Wagner up by 13 pins.
The advantage definitely has been thrown over to Lisa right here. She's working on a double, and Cheryl's sitting on the bench, and she can widen her lead here with 2 strikes to over 30 pins.
She has rolled 1 300 game in her career, a career high series of 816. Lisa Wagner, and there it is.
Lisa very happy with that shot. That was what we call the can opener. You can just watch the pins open up, and she got the ball to take out the 5, and the rest of the pins took out the 10. She's really taking a lot of time. This is very unlike Lisa. But before we started playing, you can see there's Foster Brooks in the audience. Stop by to watch them bowling.
Foster lives in nearby Rush, New York, and tries to attend a lot of sporting events here in Rochester. Lisa Wagner working on a triple, and it's 4 in a row. She has really found a line now.
She is, and that's been the way the scores have been. Once you get lined up and you find the way to carry, it's been easy to stay there and throw a lot of strikes. So it's really the girl who gets lined up first, and I think that's what's going to happen in the later matches. Sometimes the first match is just sort of a tempo setter, and as we go on, the matches progress and the scores get better and better.
Lisa up by 33 pins, and Cheryl has to get something going. That one got away from her a little bit.
She really looks like she's struggling. She really had trouble carrying, and now she's trying to make the adjustment to carry, and she lost the pocket on that ball.
Left with a 4-7.
You can see a little bit of frustration in her face. She really just looks a little bit lost right now, trying to regroup and find something. And she knows she's got to start throwing some strikes right now to put any pressure at all on Lisa.
Cheryl has learned to control her temper a little bit over the past several seasons on the tour. She used to get a little bit more frustrated with herself than she has recently. She's begun to control her emotions, and that's helped bowling. And if there was ever a reason to be upset, it's right there.
Well, that was a key mistake because that really just threw the match to Lisa. To have any chance at all, Cheryl's going to have to strike here and strike out in the 10th. And if she would do that, Lisa would have to open both frames with bad count. So you could see that mathematically wise, we would have to give the match to Lisa right now.
Well, she came right back with a strike, and that's a sign of a good throw.
Lisa just needs to get one mark in any of these 2 frames, and she will be the winner, no matter what Cheryl does. Lisa's going at a 2:20 pace right now, so she just needs to mark Cheryl. The best Cheryl can do is 2:04.
Up by 46 pins. Lisa Wagner, who won the Gladiator Classic in Merritt Island, Florida, earlier this year. 7 pin left.
Well, she blew the 5 pin out. She threw a good shot and just couldn't get the 7. That also was a lead we saw here all week. Kent a little upset with that. But Kent knows that if Lisa picks up this serve, she's the winner of this match, if she keeps the ball in the lane, which I think we can count on her doing.
Cheryl Daniels not looking at all at Lisa Wagner, and the despair on her face really shows at this point in the match because it's just about over.
And a real nice game to start with. Lisa knows that she's lined up. No matter who comes on this pair, she's going to feel confident and know that she's able to throw strikes. And even if they throw strikes, she's going to feel, though, she can throw more. And that may what happen in our next few matches. Good shot.
Very
she really
smooth
came
approach.
through.
10 pin again, but Lisa Wagner is well in control of this one.
She is the winner of this match officially. She will move on to face Jeannie Maiden, who is, of course, one of the hottest bowlers. Jeannie's throwing the ball so well right now. I think she feels anytime she goes out here on a step ladder, she is capable of winning.
Lisa will be hoping for her 11th career victory as she takes the opening match from Cheryl Daniels. And Jeannie Maiden will be next up. Very deliberate bowler. Jeannie Maiden, who won in Houston in May and Dearborn 2 weeks ago. That'll be coming up next here on the Hammer Eastern Open Championship from Marcel's Olympic Bowl. Moving a little farther outside.
I really think she let up on that shot, and before we started bowling, she had to go sand her thumb holes out in the practice session because she just said, my thumb is just too small and I can't get out of these balls. And her husband took the balls into the pro shop and they had to make her thumb holes a little bigger. So, and when something like that happens, I think she's happy that she's getting out of the ball well and won the match.
Cheryl Daniels stays right after it. A strike here in the 10th frame, and the 2 second-place finishes in her career. That first victory will have to wait for Cheryl Daniels.
And Cheryl's just going to finish up and just get out of the way. She knows that the players have a match to go. All the girls being very courteous, very professional.
And another strike for Cheryl Daniels, and one more ball here in the opening match. Lisa Wagner finishing up with a 226 and getting ready now to face Jeannie Maiden.
And there's a look at Booker Daniels. That's Cheryl's father right there. He drove up from Detroit to watch Cheryl bowl. He's very supportive of her bowling. And she'll have many other days that she'll be in this position.
He's the one who got her started. That's a great way to finish. Cheryl Daniels strikes out in the 10th. But it's Lisa Wagner taking the opening match here in the stepladder finals, 226 to 204. And we'll be back with Tokyo's Olympic Bowl along with Karen Ellingsworth, and the first match is over. Lisa Wagner defeating Cheryl Daniels 226 to 204. And Jeannie Maiden is up next for Lisa Wagner.
Here we have a match of two of the hottest bowlers right now, and Lisa is the earnings leader right now, and Jeannie is the point leader right now. So it could be anyone, and I think both these girls really want it because I think they want to prove who is number one on our tour right now. It's a big match.
Great start for Lisa Wagner.
I think Lisa really, really wants this match over Jeannie. I can see it in her eyes, the way she was really pumped. She normally doesn't show much reaction. In the first match, she was really pumped up.
Jeannie Maiden with victories in Houston in May and Dearborn, Michigan just 2 weeks ago. Her current average is 206, and that is the third best average on the tour. Nice carry for Jeannie Maiden on that first ball in the first frame.
I think you can feel the difference already just after two balls. The first match, let's see what happens. Let's get into it. Both these girls are fired up now. Lisa's been out on the lanes one game. She's lined up. And Jeannie comes out. She had time to go over, think, regroup after the practice session, and really get herself together and come out charged up. I can feel the difference.
Jeannie is a very intense bowler. She has a new coach now, Phil Cilia, in Euclid, Ohio. She switched coaches, and that seems to have improved her game.
It really has. I think that mentally she's a lot more prepared to come out here and bowl. And things have really looked good. Her game is strong.
A couple of light hits and a couple of good carries right off the bat for Jeannie Maiden.
Has been a very good carry for Jeannie all week long, has been the light hit. Some of the other girls have better carry up in the pocket. Jeannie seemed to have a lot better carry light than she did in the pocket. She left a lot of 10 pins in the pocket.
And Lisa Wagner now in the second frame, working on a strike.
Both these girls are very straight, very right at them with a lot of speed. And there we have the 2-4-5. And this is a very common leave for a professional bowler. The ball just finishing too late, coming in late. And it sometimes is not a spare you want to pick up under any type of pressure. It's very easy to chop the 2 and the 4 off of the 5 pin. You must make sure that the ball covers the 2 and the 5.
All right, let's watch Lisa Wagner do that.
Lots of speed. Perfect shot. You could see the ball took out all 3 pins. Couldn't do it any better than that.
You'll watch the bowlers in the background, those who are not bowling, looking down, thinking of anything but what the competition is doing. Jeannie Maiden said earlier tonight that she thinks about maybe the last song she heard on the radio. She may be thinking about the last movie she saw. Anything but what Lisa Wagner is doing.
They don't like to see the other bowler get a good break. Say, crosses over, carries a Brooklyn strike. They don't want to see that. They want to only be concerned about their own game and throwing a good strike just as Lisa has just done. Now with Lisa sitting on the bench, Jeannie Maiden, if she throws 2 strikes, can jump up to a 30-point lead after 4 frames.
Jeannie working on a double. Her tournament average, 225. And a match play record this week of 15-8-1.
Very good match play record. Good shot.
8 pin.
Ow! What a great shot. That is probably the only true tap-in bowling, yet we're getting to see it more and more. With the urethane bowling balls, such as the hammer ball, the ball is finishing so hard, and with the good releases that the women players have, and the new plastic pins, you see more and more of these solid 8s. And this week we've seen a lot.
Now Jeannie will try to pick that 8 pin. And no problem for Jeannie Maiden. Whose high game on television this year was 247. She's been in the TV finals 6 times this year.
Let's see if she can come back from that. Sometimes it's real hard to get a bad break like that. When you have the momentum going, you get a bad break, it sort of slows you down. Let's see how she comes back from this.
She's holding a 9-pin lead. We are in the 4th frame. And again, good carry for Jeannie Maiden.
Well, she got paid back there because that was a real gift. She came in very light on the head pin, barely getting up. The head pin just went into the wall, and she got a fortunate break to tap out the 7-pin. So she's even in the break department.
This is the second of 4 events in the Fab-Ball Cup Series. The first was the Hammer Southern Open in Daytona, won by Cindy Coburn. The third event will be the Midwest Open in St. Louis and the Western Open in Tacoma, Washington.
It's really a great series of tournaments for the girls to bowl in. And there she goes. She's right back in the match. We're dead even after 4 frames. The Fab-Ball Cup is important to the girls because if you bowl in all 4 events, it's really for the touring players, for the full-time touring players. They bowl all 4 events. It's an extra incentive to go to those events. And after it's all over, there's over $5,000 worth of prize money split up amongst the top 15 point getters in those 4 tournaments.
$1,500 in bonus money to number 1. And currently Lisa Wagner is second in the Fab-Ball Cup standings with 99 points. Working on a strike, working on 2 strikes and 7-pin.
Again, coming in light, blowing the pins over, but not getting anything to go and tap the 7-pin. Lisa's really throwing the ball well right now. She looks strong. She's really firm at the line, and that's a sign of real confidence.
The next event coming up on the LPBT Tour will be the Central New York Classic in Syracuse. As Lisa Wagner gets her spare in the 5th frame.
We've really had a great week here at Olympic Bowl in Rochester this week. The girls always enjoy coming here. And what a great job that Marcel Fournier and Frank Formicola do for us. They really make us feel at home.
They've been called the top bowling promoters in the world. And
I believe it. It's really true.
of course, the Lilac Tourney is the second largest amateur event in the world. Over 3,500 teams competing. Shake, rattle, and roll down there for Jeannie Maiden. Only one of them went down.
She stayed real light, and she was lucky to move the 2 pins close together because now she's almost eliminated the possibility of a chop because they're right dead up against each other. A very easy spare to convert.
She's a very deliberate bowler.
Jeannie spends many, many hours practicing, and just that, she is a very methodical, very deliberate bowler, and the hours of practice spent shows in her execution.
Coming up, we're going to see one of the faster bowlers on the tour, and Lori Nichols.
Lori wastes no time. She says, hey, if I don't know what I'm doing by now, she says, I don't need to stand there and think about it.
The second match of the Hammer Eastern Open, and it's even between Jeannie Maiden and Lisa Wagner. And leaving the 10-pin in the 6th frame.
Again, the ball just finishing behind the head pin. The 6-pin goes up and around the 10-pin. It really is a tap, but there's a reason for it. And Jeannie's going to have to make the adjustment and get back. It looks as though on her first 2 shots when she came up, she was charged up, had a little more ball speed. The last few frames, she's let up just enough, and she's lost the carry potential she had in the first 2 frames. She's got to get her speed back up.
Match play earlier, it was Jeannie Maiden over Wagner, 236 to 210. We'll take a break and come back to finish up this match between Lisa Wagner Eastern Open, with Lisa Wagner holding a 1-pin lead over Jeannie Maiden. This is match number 2 in the stepladder finals.
You could see Lisa just swinging the ball. We had a short break. When you take a break like that, your thumb has a tendency to swell, and she just wanted to make sure, swing a little, the thumb will come back down to its normal size, and she'll get a good release here. It's just a very smart move on her part.
Very important ball. To the right, she got the carry.
What a great. She just tripped the 2-pin forward. I mean, that was a great break. She came in extremely light, and she said, hey, thanks God.
A lot of things are going well for Lisa Wagner here at Marcel's Olympic Bowl, which is the largest bowling establishment in the Eastern United States, 80 lanes. We talked about the Lilac tourney with over 682,000 paid out. A regular PBA stop is here at Olympic Bowl in the fall.
It's a great tournament center. It's really built to have tournaments here, large tournaments such as this.
Well, that time Lisa Wagner did not get the break on the 10-pin.
She is really throwing the ball well, though, and just as though you saw the break on the last frame, when you're loose and you're throwing the ball well and you have a good, strong, loose arm swing, it can really make the breaks happen for you. If you're tense, tight, squeezing the ball just a little, it can make it seem like you can't get anything. And that's just that looseness in the arm swing can cause all those things to happen.
She drills that 10-pin. And through the 7th frame, Lisa Wagner 129. Jeannie Maiden 108. Jeannie is 28 years old, native of Salon, Ohio.
Jeannie taking a lot of time on the approach that frame. But she came in light, blowing the 5-pin.
She says she likes to control her own pace.
Well, she definitely does that, and she slows down the pace of a match, and she's always been like that, and she just needs to take that little extra time. I really don't know what she's doing. I prefer myself to go a little faster, to keep things rolling along. But you can see here, she's just getting herself together, and every bowler has their own style. You never see two styles alike, and there's a lot of ways to play this game, and that's what works best for her.
Confidence is obviously a big factor in all sports, and certainly Jeannie's confidence level at this point in time, having won 2 events already this year, is very high, and she's very high right now with that strike in the 8th frame, because now she's doubled.
Great shot. She takes a 9-pin lead now.
Lisa Wagner, the 1980 Rookie of the Year.
And that was a great break. She tripped out the whole back row with the 7 and 9 going down last. It was a little high, but like I said, she looks loose. I really feel like, although she's behind in this match, I feel like she's the one with momentum. She just a couple 10 pins away from really taking a big lead in this match. But she really needs this strike right here. This is the key. This is the match.
Well, let's see if Lisa Wagner can get it.
What a great shot she threw. You could see the powerful shot. And we are dead even going into the 9th and 10th frame. But Jeannie Maiden, if she were to strike out in the 9th and 10th, she would lock out Lisa Wagner. If she doesn't, Lisa can win.
A packed house here at Olympic Bowl seeing a great match between Jeannie Maiden and Lisa Wagner.
And there's one. Right now, Jeannie, with a spare strike, is going at a 2:28 pace. Lisa Wagner has a possible 2:39. So if Jeannie were to throw all 3 strikes here, she would finish with 2:48 and lock out Lisa Wagner. Anything less, Lisa could win this match.
Incredibly great scores all this week at Olympic Bowl.
2 strikes, Jeannie's the winner. What a good shot. And you can see the confidence of her last couple titles coming through on that.
Betty Morris is waiting. Player of the decade in the 70s, hoping for her first title since 1980.
She'll be taking on one red-hot bowler, whoever comes out of this match, because both girls are throwing the ball extremely well.
This could be the match.
All right. What Lisa will have to throw the first strike and 9 and a spare, and she will be the winner.
What a dramatic finish. The 7-10 left for Jeannie Maiden.
And the 8-pin leave is definitely a key because Lisa has the edge in count right now.
So Jeannie Maiden catches a very tough break in the 10th frame. And winds up with a 235. Lisa will need 2 strikes and a 7 count to win this match and advance against Betty Morris.
And there we saw it. She threw that ball great, and she left a solid 8, the same lane Jeannie Maiden left the same pin. What a tough way to lose a match. She threw that bowling ball as well as she could be expected in that situation.
Jeannie Maiden peaked on that one, and she shook her head a little bit too. She knows what Lisa Wagner is going to. 2 years ago, here at Olympic Bowl, Jeannie Maiden lost a very tough match to Cindy Coburn.
She sure did. Jeannie Maiden only needed to pick up the 2-pin to win the title, and she blew by it and moved it, but she did not get it. I'm sure that she remembers that today bowling here.
Cindy Coburn bowled very well here at Olympic Bowl as well, and she was the alternate. So it's Jeannie Maiden advancing with a 235, beating Lisa Wagner, who finishes at 283. Jeannie Maiden against Betty Morris at the Hammer Eastern Open at Marcel's Olympic Bowl. I'm Rich Funky with Karen Ellingsworth, the former U.S. Open champion. And Jeannie Maiden has just completed a victory over Lisa Wagner, 235 to 218. Maiden coming on very strong in the 7th, 8th, and 9th frames and getting that mark in the 10th to win it. Her first ball is a beauty.
Great shot. And again, Jeannie's putting the pressure on Betty right away.
Karen, what does that first ball mean, if anything?
Well, it can work 2 ways, Rich. You can come out, throw a great shot. It can really pump you up for the rest of the match. Or you could come out, throw a great shot, say, yeah, I'm lined up, and almost let down. Jeannie's got to make sure she doesn't let down. Betty has to throw 2 balls before she gets to bowl again.
Way outside for Betty Morris on that first shot.
Now, Betty Morris is the only bowler on our finals today playing the outside line. Betty is playing very close to the first arrow, and all the other players closer to the 3rd arrow. So really, that wasn't that bad a shot. Everyone was just used to seeing everyone towards the middle of the lane. She did drop it just a little bit. You could see she came back and got a piece of the head pin.
Betty describes herself as a very emotional bowler. She won't watch anything or anybody. She's one of the few bowlers this week that played outside.
Betty's able to because she throws a little more spin than the other bowlers. Betty throws almost a spinner. The other girl's throwing the 3/4 roll. And so she has less of the ball tracking over. She's using an extremely shiny ball, which creates more skid down the lane. The lane's being very, very dry on the outside. Very hard to control the ball, but Betty's had good success with it. And she was really the only one this week that played that far out on the lane.
She said that she had a pretty easy time this week with her spares. A 10-pin bothered her a couple of times, but that's to be expected the way she throws it outside, and now she's got her first strike.
I think Betty Morris has an easy time with her spares every week. She is probably one of the best spare shooters on our tour, and she has been for many years. And you don't get as many titles as she did and have the success she had in the 70s without being a very, very good spare shooter. She's probably one of the best executors out here. She had a few personal problems for a couple years, but she's really come back the last couple years and been a real threat out here.
Now 28-year-old Jeannie Maiden. And she begins this all-important match with 2 strikes.
Jeannie's really playing the lane very well, and what I mean by playing the lane, she's using the boards and the oil on the lane to her advantage. She's got her feet in the right place with her target, and she's given herself just a little bit of area. And you do create area for yourself by playing the lane correctly.
Everyone adjusts. Jeannie Maiden did not list on her sheet that she looked at either the foul line or the dots or the arrows or the pins. I guess she looks at everything.
You do. You move your target in and out and forward and backward. Sometimes you can look at the dots. Sometimes you look at the arrows. Sometimes beyond the arrows. If the lane is extremely dry, you want to look further down the lane. If there's a lot of oil, you can bring your target in, get the ball to roll up a little sooner. And all the girls make these type of adjustments regularly.
She's won $14,850 so far this year. That ranks second behind Lisa Wagner in the money standings on the LPT Tour. And she knocks the 8th pin out of it.
Betty's got to get herself going here and show she can throw some strikes together. She is a very emotional bowler. You can see the highs and lows in her face on every shot.
When Betty came in, she was having some hand problems as she crosses over Brooklyn's side there and gets an 8.
She's really having trouble throwing the ball. She's not as firm as I've seen her. She just looks as though she's losing the ball. It's slipping off of her hand. She's not getting the projection down the lane she needs to get.
She had a 16-6-2 match play record, which is very good, and she said she did something that she has never done before. She went to a local proprietor to have a new ball drilled. His name is Joe Schulich, and it helped her very much this week.
It's very hard when you're out on tour to find someone that you really trust. Everyone has someone at home, or a lot of the girls drill their own equipment, and it's very hard to go to a town that you haven't ever been to and find someone that you trust to drill a ball for you. And she said that he did an extremely good job, and she's real happy with the results.
Betty will be bowling in Syracuse for the next event after taking a couple of days off, going to New York City for a little fun. It's a long grind out here on the tour.
It really is. This is the 3rd week we've had in a row. We have a tournament left. You need to have a little relaxed time to get yourself together and be mentally prepared for the next tournament. If you're just bowl, you just get burnt out, and it's real hard to go out and compete.
Betty was working on a spare there in the 3rd frame and leaves the 7-pin here in the 4th.
You can see here, if you look at Betty's right foot, she's wearing a gym shoe on that foot. She says it just gives her a little better push off than a regular bowling shoe, and she's been doing that for a couple months now.
She started bowling relatively late at the age of 13. Her father took her to tournaments, sort of went from there.
It really is late. I came out on tour when I was 19, and I had been bowling since I was 9. So to me, that seems extremely late, because by the time I was 15, I was already thinking of coming out here, and she just picked up a ball. Just a natural ability shows there, I guess.
Here's Jeannie Maiden, who is 28 years old and has already been bowling 22 years.
A young starter. Fortunately, bowling is a sport where you're not washed up by the time you're 18. It's you can play bowling until you're 50 years old and still compete out here. And a lot of women have shown that. It takes a lot of knowledge to be a very, very good top bowler.
We've had some great scores here in the first 2 matches. Lisa Wagner winning the opener over Cheryl Daniels, 226 to 204. Maiden over Wagner, then 235 to 218. And last year in the championship, lefty Tish Johnson was a winner over Carol Norman. 185 to 167, so the scores have been markedly better this year. But not good for the lefties. This Johnson is a left-handed bowler. No lefties in the final 5.
And see Jeannie again composing herself. Both of these bowlers are taking a lot of time. The heat under the lights, sometimes they just need to cool down a little between the shots because it does get hot under the TV lights.
What do the lights do to the lane conditions?
Well, it really is hard to say because I've seen the lights do a number of things to the lane. Sometimes it brings the oil down the lane into the finish area, causing the ball to not hit as hard and leaves things such as this week 10. On other cases, it dries up the oil on the heads or the early portion of the lane, causing the ball to hook up early. And right now, I really don't see the girls having to make a huge adjustment. I don't know if they're having an effect at all. There's a lot of different types of oil used on the lane, and they all react differently.
Jeannie Maiden gets her spare in the 5th frame. And Betty Morris now trailing by 8 pins. She can pick up some ground here. Dead in the pocket and left with a 10 pin.
Betty's ball just rolled out on that ball, and what I mean by rolled out is it hooked too much. It hooked so much that by the time it got to the pocket, it just didn't have any hitting power left. The optimum hitting portion had already been spent, and she needs to tighten up just a little, and so much as her hitting time is just a little sooner.
Her best finish this year was 4th. That was Merritt Island. This is her 2nd appearance on television. 3 straight spares for Betty Morris out of Stockton, California.
Betty was talking to one of the local bowlers earlier today and asking how much she bowled, and she says she likes to bowl about an hour and a half every day. And she told them, but I never shoot spares. Betty never practices spares. She always just throws the first ball and re-racks, as do probably most of the pros. If you can hit your target every ball on the strikes, then all you have to do is, spares are only a matter of adjustment and knowing the correct way to shoot them. And Betty says she never practiced them, and yet she's a great spare shooter.
There's the strike she was looking for. Betty Morris and Jeannie were back at Olympic Bowl in Rochester for the 1986 Hammer Eastern Open. Jeannie Maiden going against Betty Morris with Lori Nichols waiting for the winner.
We have a very tight match, really. Jeannie's up by 10 pins, but Betty is sitting down and she's on a strike. And Jeannie has been leaving 10 pins, which she didn't do on that ball. But that was a real good shot. And she just needs to make a small adjustment to get rid of that weak 10. And she obviously did on that ball.
How important is physical conditioning to bowlers? I know that Jeannie Maiden and Betty Morris both are very involved in aerobics and working out. Is it helpful?
Oh, out on the pro tour, definitely. All the girls try to stay in very good shape. I know both of these girls have rigorous workout, and Betty actually told me that she has started lifting weights in the last 6 months or so. She bought a weight bench for her house, and she said she has never felt better. She had never done anything like that before, and she couldn't believe the difference. She just really feels like the strength has helped her.
2 very big shots by Jeannie Maiden here in the 6th and 7th frames. And now Betty Morris is down by 19 pins with her first ball here in the 7th.
Betty needs this strike to stay in this match. She's going to lose touch of Jeannie if she doesn't get this one. Good shot. And there it is for the 3rd time today. And I think that this lane, 34, is notorious for this 8-pin. As I think back to the previous finals here, Shirley Hintz once left an 8-pin to lose the title here. She also needed a strike to win a match in the next year, and she also left an 8-pin. She had left 3 8-pins in 2 years on the same lane 34. Now this is the third one. I think that this lane is going to go down in history as the 8-pin lane. I mean, it is amazing that we have seen that many.
Shirley Hintz, every big shot that she needed, left that 8-pin, and I think that was 2 years ago in the first event here at Olympic Bowl. And we've talked a lot about Lisa Wagner coming from the number 5 position to try to win. Those people in the number 1 position have won just 28 of 74 tournaments in the past 10 years. People in the number 1 position, but 4 out of 7 this year.
Definitely not an advantage so far as going into this finals as winning the title. The worst you can do is second, but the player coming out of this semifinal match definitely has the momentum. They've been on the lanes, they're loose. The other player has been sitting off to the side for an hour before they get to come on and play. That was a great shot by Betty. Tough break with the 8-pin, or we have a tie match, but she's still in this match.
Betty Morris coming right back after that tough 8-pin leave, and now she's down by 19 pins, and Jeannie Maiden is working on a double in the 8th frame.
There it is, she threw it just a little harder. The ball went down the lane and didn't quite get the rotation into the pocket to carry out the weak 10. This is anybody's game. We have tight matches. Like I said, these players know that whoever gets out of this match has the momentum going into the final match. They know the statistics. We talk about it all the time. Lori Nichols, tournament leader, off to the side. She will take on the winner of this match.
This is Jeannie Maiden's 6th appearance in the stepladder finals in 1986. She has obviously been here before. She knows what it's all about. And she picks the 10-pin.
These girls are bowling extremely well. You could see we haven't had many open frames at all, if we have had any. I think we've had 1 open frame in the 3 matches. We've had 1 open frame in the 3 matches we've had. They're keeping the ball in play. They're keeping it in the pocket. And that really makes for very tight matches. Nobody's making the big mistake.
Jeannie Maiden with a count of 156. Working on a spare.
She sets herself up in the 9th frame.
Give her a count of 176, and now Betty Morris has some 2 very important frames in front of her. She's working on a strike. She's at 138, down by 18 pins.
The other strikes were important. This one is a must.
Here it is. A little high and no carry.
She really went through the nose, didn't throw the ball well. She let up. You can see she's not very happy with that shot at all. Playing the line that she's been playing all week, the only thing she can't do is let up, because as soon as she lets up on the speed, the ball's going to hook and go right through the nose.
So Betty Morris gets her spare in the 9th.
If Betty Morris strikes out, she'll have 208.
There's Marcel Fournier. To his right, Arnold Klinsky, general manager at TV10. Marcel and his wife Lila. 4 straight years for the LPBT Tour at Olympic Bowl.
If Betty should have 3 strikes right here, she would shoot 208. She would have to rely on Jeannie Maiden opening in the 10th.
Well, she got the first one. All she can do is do what she has to do and wait for something else to happen.
Anything can happen when the pressure is on. Sometimes that single little mark is the toughest thing in the world. but she needs this one to have a chance.
Lori Nichols is waiting patiently. Lori won the qualifying by 411 pins, but none of that matters now. It is a one-match tournament coming up momentarily. There's the second one. We had a terrific finish to the match prior to this one, and this is shaping up to be another beauty.
There it is. She knows that she needs to keep her count here. 8 pins. Jeannie Maiden would need a mark to win. She wants to keep this ball in play.
Betty Morris has bowled very well over the course of this week.
There it is. It's immaterial. The machine knocked that. That does not count. But Betty finishes with 206. What that does is that causes Jeannie Maiden to spare or strike, and she is the winner. All Betty can do is sit and watch, and I'll tell you what, she's going to be watching this one.
So Karen has set it up for you. Jeannie Maiden needs only a mark to move into the championship against Lori Nichols of Algonquin, Illinois. There it is.
Oh, and what a break. She carries out the 4-5-7 off the wall. That could have been disastrous. She gets the good break and the good carry. Jeannie Maiden will go on to face Lori Nichols in the title match.
Lori Nichols was saying earlier today, this week it's my turn. She has lost to Lisa Wagner. She's lost to Jeannie Maiden this year. And she lost to Robin Romeo last week.
Lori is due. And there's Jeannie throwing another strike. But Lori is due. Her last 2 titles have been in the state of New York. She says, hey, I'm going to make it 3 in a row.
Some great bowling here in the 1986 Hammer Eastern Open. The second of 4 events in the Fab-All Cup Series. The third one will be the Midwest Open and then the Western Open in Tacoma. And Jeannie Maiden gets a strong finish. Defeats Betty Morris for the 1986 Hammer Eastern Open Championship. Jeannie Maiden, one of the hottest players on the tour right now, and Lori Nichols, who had one very hot week.
Lori ran away from the field. It's almost a shame she has to bowl just one more game to defend her title. A 411 pin lead over the top professionals in the United States is immense. She really, really destroyed the pins here at Olympic Bowl.
$5,000 to the winner. $2,500 for runner-up. Lisa Wagner has picked up $1,250. Betty Morris, $1,500. Cheryl Daniels, $1,100.
The break looks like it affected Jeannie. This is the first game she has not started with a strike. She's left herself a tough spare in the 3-9. She must make sure the ball takes both pins out. She has to be dead on. Good shot.
Pretty shot. So now Lori Nichols, who is one of the quicker bowlers on the tour, started when they opened a bowling center in Carpentersville, Illinois. She just went down with her friends. She was in an adult league by the time she was 15. And a tough beginning for Lori Nichols. She says the one spare that she does not like to pick is the 2-4-5.
And this is it right here. Because there's so many ways to miss this spare. You've got to really be careful of the chop. And especially this week, you want to make sure that the ball covers the 2 and the 5 and let the 2 pin take out the 4 pin.
Got it.
And she showed you how on that one.
How important might that have been had she missed it, knowing that that's the one spare she doesn't like to look at?
To start off a match with your least favorite spare and then go up and chop it. it really, really can affect your attitude. Hey, you're like, oh great, no breaks, and oh, you kind of get along that line of thinking, oh, here I am in the title match again, and oh my God, everything's gonna go wrong.
Now that she's made it, let's see how she comes back. Just like that.
She comes back with a strike, and that's the reason Lori stalled all week long. She has great carry. You can see the 10-pin go in towards the middle of the lane, and that's not something you see with all the other reactions from the other bowlers.
Jenny Maiden, who's been averaging 221 on this pair of lanes, a big ball. Just 10. Rough beginning for Jenny Maiden here in the championship match.
That also is something that you see on this condition. With the ball going extremely straight down the lane into the pocket, you can be left at this split on a seemingly good hit. Here she should make sure she gets one on a virtually impossible split.
She took out the 7th. Opens the second frame. And now Jenny Maiden will have to come back and put something together here pretty quickly.
You can see her here. She's composing herself, trying to regroup after that unfortunate break. Taking a little extra time. You can see Jenny uses almost all the approach, in contrast to Lori, who starts above the second set of arrows. So real different styles.
Now she's looking at the 4-7. She defeated Lori Nichols 221 to 171 to win the 1986 Lady Fairlanes Open in Houston. That was back in May.
And maybe Lori's going to try and repay the favor here.
Lori has been in the finals 3 times this year without a victory.
Lori, one of the most consistent bowlers, consistently in the top 10 week after week after week. She hasn't won quite as many titles as some of the other girls in recent years, but she's a threat every single week to win.
She's attempting to become the first 2-time champion at Olympic bowling. She won the inaugural event back here in 1983. 10-pin left on a solid hit. She was working on a strike.
And you can see there's Lori's husband, Terry, and Robin Romeo, another bowler, sitting right next to him. He's really supportive of Lori's bowling, and they met bowling at home in Illinois, and they've been married for 7 years.
Lori runs her own pro shop in Algonquin, Illinois, averaging 205 on the tour this year. She ranks 5th on the money list with just over $10,000. She can add 5 to that total with a victory here in the title match. Strange things are happening here in this title match.
The pressure of the title here has definitely affected these two girls. Jeannie was really, really lined up the last 2 matches. She wasn't out of the pocket more than 2 or 3 times. And Lori came out through a couple good shots, and that one just let it get away from her. Went right through the nose, leaving her with an impossible 4-6-10. And she gets 2, and we're pretty much dead even right now with a little different type of match than we've had in the previous.
So Jenny Maiden opens in the 3rd frame. Lori Nichols opens in the 4th frame. And now Jeannie has a golden opportunity.
Some good concentration on the part of Jeannie right there. We had some noise in the background. She didn't let it affect her at all. She continued through her shot. And again, just left the week 10. These girls are just a little tighter right now, and they're not getting the good rotation and the good carry. And the ball's just a little weak finishing into the pocket.
We talked a little bit about Jeannie Maiden going through her exercise routine wherever she happens to be on the tour, and Lori Nichols is another of those who is heavily involved in exercise and physical fitness, but she had a back problem, and that's sort of got her going.
Well, a year ago, just about this time of the year, Lori had to go into the hospital, and they found that she has a herniated disc in her back, and they've tried a few things, but they've told her just recently that it's more or less she's going to have to learn to live with the pain. And she's been doing some biofeedback things, and she started an exercise program to try and strengthen the rest of her body to help make up for the weakness in her back. And she also feels that it's really helped her game, keep the legs strong.
Maiden against Nichols, and they are even through 4 frames. Jeannie working on a spare.
You can see the great extension on that shot by Jeannie. She got low at the line. She really stayed with that ball, extended way down the lane, and you can see the difference in the hitting power when it got to the pin. She put 10 pins in the pit. Lori wasting no time.
No time at all. She's up quickly, and she got the carry. Strike for strike, and we're through 5 frames.
Lori needs to take control of this match, and she needs to set the tempo. She needs to get up and bowl and do what she wants to do, not let the slow, methodical bowling of Jeannie Maiden upset her fast style. Like I said, we have totally contrasting styles here. Lori, powerful arm swing, gets a lot of leverage, a lot of speed. Jeannie Maiden, a finesse type player, very methodical, very slow.
10 pins and 8 pins on lanes 33 and 34 here at Olympic Bowl have been trouble spots for the bowlers tonight.
Probably the best shot Lori has thrown this game, and she gets a ringing 10 pin. 9 pins were gone, but she had 1 left.
So Lori Nichols takes out the 10 pin. And she's with 86 on the scoreboard. Jeannie Maiden with 66 and working on a strike here in the 6th frame.
Jeannie taking a lot of time. She could go out in front with this strike. She just sent that ball a little bit wide. She got it back to come back to the pocket. It was finishing too late, and she's left with the identical shot that Lori has just left.
Both bowlers wearing the wristbands.
Both players are wearing a metal type wrist device, which is a little larger than most. It helps keep the wrist firm behind the ball, as you just don't want your wrist to break back. Gives you a stronger release, helps you put more rotation on the ball.
After the 10 pin, and she hung on to get it.
It looks like she hurt her wrist on that shot. I don't know. After bowling 42 games in 3 days, a lot of these girls have very, very sore hands and very tired wrists. It is a long week. We do a lot of bowling.
Jeannie Maiden, who has 9 career 300 games. 9. Holy cow.
She's definitely used to putting the strikes together.
Not that time.
She really made a poor shot. The ball almost crossing all the way over. And she has left herself with another split. This one being probably 2-1 on the odds charts for professionals. It's not that difficult, but you still have to make a very good shot.
It's a shot Jeannie Maiden needs at this point. Got it. Lori Nichols up by 2 pins over Jeannie Maiden.
There's Frank Formicola.
Frank playing producer in this telecast. I say playing. I haven't seen him produce too much here. There's a break for Lori Nichols.
That's got to be the one to charge Lori up. That's something that we haven't seen all week long. She got the 6-pin to lay down in the channel, tap the 10-pin, and just tip it into the pit. Lori says thank you. She's got to jump on this break right now.
Wasting no time, Lori Nichols.
Almost carrying another strike, going high on the head pin. You could see her laughing. She needs to pick up the spare. We have got a tight match. There's Robin Romeo.
Winner last week. Van Nuys, California. Lori takes a quick look at the scoreboard. She's at 126. Jeannie Maiden at 104. We're moving into the 8th frame, and Jeannie Maiden working on a spare.
See Lori probably putting a patch on her finger here. Jeannie using all of the approach.
Maiden trying for her 3rd tournament victory in 1986. 10-pin left. Lori Nichols looking for her first win of the year after being in the finals 3 times.
This match is turning out to be the battle of the 10 pins because that's all these girls have managed to leave. We've only got 4 strikes between the 2 girls. Jeannie Maiden threw that many in 4 frames in their previous match.
A deep breath, sigh of relief for Jeannie Maiden as she gets her spare in the 8th frame. Nichols' lead is 3 pins.
As tight a match as you could ask for.
Lori's highest game on TV, 268. For Jeannie Maiden, 247.
Lori shot that 260 right here on this very same pair on the TV show the year that she won. And she's not going to do that today.
There's a strike for Jeannie Maiden in the 9th frame.
This is the situation. Lori Nichols would throw 4 strikes. She would mathematically lock out Jeannie Maiden. If she doesn't, Jeannie Maiden would have a chance to win.
There's the first one. She's at 146. That's the count in the 8th frame. Maiden with a count of 143.
2 strikes in 8, and Lori is our champion. Anything less, Jeannie Maiden would have the opportunity to get up and take away the title.
She crossed over, and now she has the 610.
Important here to get the spare and keep her count because that forces Jeannie to throw the first strike. But she first must convert this spare, which is also very easy to chop.
So Lori Nichols gets her spare and has one more ball left here in the 10th frame. And then it's up to Jeannie Maiden. They don't get much tighter, do they?
No, they don't. And Jeannie Maiden can come through under the pressure. I watched her win her first title in Tacoma, and she needed all 3 strikes to win. And she put all 3 balls right there.
Lori Nichols finishes up with a strike and a 186. Jeannie Maiden will need a strike to win.
And there's the fat ball. People, Earl Whitman.
President Earl Whitman and Dennis Baldwin, the Eastern manager, are here. Earl Whitman to the right. This is for the match. There is your 1986 Hammer Eastern Open champion, Jeannie Maiden. With that strike, has defeated Lori Nichols.
She knew when she let go, she had it. She let go.
She has been hot. There's just no other way to put it. Title number 3. The first one was in Houston in May. The second was in Dearborn, Michigan 2 weeks ago. And number 3 here at Marcel's Olympic Bowl. She suffered a heartbreaking loss here 2 years ago. She's come back to win it in '86. And that's 4 different champions here.
That had to be in the back of her mind. Losing a title with something like that, she had to be coming back, trying to make amends. And she sure did.
Jeannie Maiden being congratulated by Lori Nichols, who had a great week as the top qualifier, but it's Maiden who wins the 1986 Hammer Eastern Open and the $5,000 top prize. She finishes with a 200. Lori Nichols finishing at 186. Jeannie Maiden, 28 years old, from Salon, Ohio. And our 1986 Hammer Eastern Open champion, Jeannie Maiden, with a victory over Lori Nichols. Congratulations.
Thank you, Rich.
It was kind of a tough beginning for you, but you came on strong at the end.
It was a tough beginning for Lori and I. The lanes changed quite a bit from the previous game, and I didn't really know where to line up in the 10th frame, so I said if I, make a move, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
You lost a heartbreaker here 2 years ago to Cindy Coburn when you were in the finals. Was that in the back of your mind at all?
And around the 3rd frame, Rich, it was in the back of my mind a little bit. I just didn't want to lose like that again. I just wanted to bowl well and perform well out here.
You have performed remarkably well on tour this year. What's been the difference?
One of the major differences has been I have Phil Celia, who's my ball driller, as a coach right now, and he's helped me tremendously. So I owe a lot of credit to him.
All right, Jeannie, congratulations. Now, what we're all waiting for is the money. So let's bring out Earl Whitman, who is the president of Foul Ball Corporation, sponsors of the Hammer Eastern Open. Earl, the microphone is yours now.
Congratulations, babe. This is a fine job of bowling. On behalf of Fab Ball, home of the Hammer, I hope you win many more.
Thank you, Earl, and thank you very much for sponsoring the tournament. You've been our greatest supporter on the LPBT Tour.
Thank you, Jeannie. We appreciate that. A lot more hammers in your future.
Most definitely.
Earl, thanks very much. Now let's bring out Marcel and Lila Fournier. Marcel?
All right, congratulations, Jeannie. It was great having the ladies, and we hope that you'll be back many times, and it's a great seeing you as a champion.
Thank you, Marcel. This is my favorite place to bowl in the country because I do work for you and Frank Formancola, and it's a great place, and the fans have been great here, and I look coming back here for more in the future. Thanks.
You're on. We'll be glad to have you forever.
You want to adopt me?
All right, Jeannie Maiden, the 1986 winner of the Hammer Eastern Open here at Marcel's Olympic Bowl, with a 200 to 186 victory over Lori Nichols, and the $5,000 top prize is all yours.
Thank you.
We'll see you again next year. I'm Rich Funky with Karen Ellingsworth. Good night. Good afternoon from Olympic Bowl.